Hello, gentlemen, ladies, and anything in between. Welcome back to Tips and Tricks, episode 2. Now, last time we looked at what I would class as beginner to maybe intermediate skill level stuff. Today we're going to look at intermediate to expert level. So there's going to be some more advanced techniques in your gameplay that if you use and when you practice and hone, then they're really going to enhance your gameplay in the long run. So, without any further ado, let's look into this. Alright, so here this segment is going to be covering autoloaders and the various tricks you can pull off when you possess one. For example, we're in the heat of battle up here, there's 1,000 tanks around us, and Ian has just been outflanked by 2 of my team, so he has to go and deal with them. Meanwhile, I'm dealing with the magical flying pig that is flying through the air on Himmelsdorf. We're both going through our own individual engagements, and Ian finishes up dealing with his at the same time as I finish up dealing with my engagement. Keen to make the engagement with me once again, he comes back to the corner, at which point I'm well aware that I am reloading, but I'm also aware that this bitch does not know that. Log! Log! I'm a loaded 50B! Log! Log! Yeah, hey! You bitch! But you get the idea. I'm scary. I'm a big loaded autoloader. Yeah. You get back from this corner, lest you be autoloaded. I have so many shells. You see, lesser experienced people will do something like this. Hey, Ian, come to the corner here, and I'll be a noob. Less experienced people, they will hit the C button and then they will do this. I wonder when behind me would be a fantastic place to reverse while I reload my gun. Oh no, how did he know? And that's the story of a bad player in an autoloader. Fun fact, did you know that the AMX 50B's hull armor is about the best effective frontal hull in the entire game? Hey Ian, why don't you shoot me in my upper plate? Yeah. Cliff, save me! Help! No! Wait, what the My ass cushioned the blow. So, now we're gonna cover how to not get outflanked like a bitch. So, let's say that Ian is coming at me in this T-54. And then I'm gonna pre-aim and fire, but oh nee, I have missed! And now there's a T-54 around my tank. Oh, whatever shall I do? You see, a lot of players will just do this. Ian, you wanna miss me a little bit, mate? Alright, they will just try and spin on the spot and just achieve absolutely nothing while they get circled until their dismal demise. What an experienced player like myself will do is, oh nee, I have been outflanked by this medium tank. I know, I'll drive to the nearest wall and scrape the enemy tank off of my ass with it so they can't get behind me, and then I can bring the gun onto him, even if it is a bit tedious doing it, and now that's a kaboom straight from the frontal plate. As long as I have cover right next to me, hard, solid cover, it makes it significantly more challenging for the enemy to outflank you as a tank destroyer. Something you should always endeavour to do is put solid cover next to you when you've been outflanked. Even if you take some hits while doing it, while getting to that cover, it's worth it because it does a lot more than just spiraling uselessly on the spot. Now, if we go back to... let's go to a worst of the worst scenario, shall we? Let's say for some goddamn reason, I'm in the middle of this area. There is no solid cover near me that I can use to get this T-54 off of my flank. Now, this is something that's not really appreciated, but it can mean the difference between success and failure in the long run. So, what I'm going to do is Ian is going to outflank me. He's going to drive to the right. I'm going to turn around like this, and Ian is just going to run big circles around me. Now, as soon as this starts happening, Are you getting lag like a bitch? Ian? Ah! Oh my god, he's a wizard! He's a wizard! Ah! No! Ah! He's too powerful! It's a poltergeist! Ow! Oh no! No, not this again! Release me while the tank's demons! I don't deserve this! Help! Assistance!
Right. Then
yes.
Jen will talk after them.
Yeah, Unicums also do that. They lag the game out like a bitch and win. But what I was actually going to say is that while I'm rotating pointlessly, trying to get the gun on this T-54, as soon as this happens in this situation, you gotta think about one thing. And that is the fact that right now, Ian is driving forwards. Huh? And tanks drive faster forwards than they do backwards, mostly. So, what I want to do, although it won't save me in this situation because of the mobility of Ian, I want to make sure that I'm rotating in a direction that means that Ian constantly has to change direction. You see how much... I have a much better chance of catching him while he's reversing around me than I do when he's going forwards. I'm still not going to catch him, but it's a significant difference. And can mean the difference if you've got a mobile tank destroyer and a little less mobile medium tank. That can make a big difference. So it's something to think about as well. So now I'm going to cover the R and F functions again. I did them last time, but we need more examples because this is so good. Now, right now, I've encountered Ian on the other side of this door. Now, I am in a tank with a fairly unmanageable gun bloom, I think we can all agree. And should I want to come through this door and chat on Mr. Corporal Kid, well, if I push W, my gun blooms up like this, and that's just simply not manageable. I'm gonna miss my shot, and I'm gonna die. But if I use the R function while Mr. Ian is trying to disengage and run out the door at G4, around there, go in a straight line. Yeah. And then I hit the R function. And I can reveal my manly self through the door while fully aimed and... Good night, Mr. Light Tank running away at full speed. Welcome to Unicum Land. Population,
Hacks.
the R function.
Hacks. Hacker. Cheater.
That was
Hacker.
first time. That speaks for the method.
I
It
know.
works. First time, I thought maybe we'll have to do this twice, 3 times, nope.
This is where you go, guys, in a heavy tank game. Just sit here.
Okay.
Go on then, Mono. While you're getting hit by tank destroyers. I have all the health in the world. Come at me.
I'm just thinking about like how stupid that would be.
Yes.
A 4 and 6
killed
day in
by
a random game.
Artillery shooting me, destroyers. Yeah, I've got all the health in the world, man. I can take this.
Okay,
Better
right,
than
I
a
got
mouse.
this. I got this. Okay, so now we're covering the turret wiggle, the famous turret wiggle maneuver, patented by my good self and a couple of other people. In any case, I'm demonstrating it in a tank that is blessed by a rather large cupola. And you see, if I come up here and try and shoot the blessed Ian, then most likely what's going to happen is I'm going to get shot in my cupola like a bitch. Now, let us try that exact same thing again once I revive my commander from the pits of hell, but this time I will do the famous turret wiggle of wiggleness. Observe the turret wiggle, observe the powers. You bitch! You're meant to bounce! Turret wiggle of turret wiggleness, and you go A and D and A and D, and look! He has bounced! First time, and now, what the You get the
And
fucking
honestly,
point!
I'm using the turret wiggle as well, so I mean I can bounce.
I got this,
M103s
I
as
got
well.
this. Wibble wobble, wibble wobble, wibble wobble. Armor! Armor! Stop it!
I did.
Are you fucking... God damn it! I swear to God this works. You point your gun up, because your gun counts as an external module. It can eat a shell. You wiggle the cupola, and the enemy have harder shots, and they'll never pen you. They'll never, ever. There we go. See, he bounced, and now I can come up and do that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I can do. And then I can do it again until Ian dies like the bitch. Which I
Oh, it's not me. It's my gun. It's too good.
Shut up! You're hacking.
Oh look.
Wiggle.
Look, I better
Wiggle.
shoot his cheeks.
Wiggle, wiggle.
Oh
Ah!
no, I bounced. Oh,
Yeah! Victory! Nailed it. 10 out of 10.
Even though I could have killed you. Yeah.
Okay, so
Best
wiggling your
part
cupola,
wiggling
it blocks some shells unless your opponent is a bitch.
Can't believe you bounced twice on a 4-on-6. Just what the hell?
I had a broken gun, man.
Oh yeah, blame a broken gun.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Alright, gents, so now what we're going to demonstrate is a nifty trick that you can use and ignore some people not having 6th sense. Now, what's going to happen here is I'm going to pop out around this corner, and I'm going to see, oh look, an ELC AMX. Now, I have a decision here. I can either shoot at him, but let's assume that I don't get spotted. Let's assume that I'm not in any danger right now. I have time to work. Now, if I shot at him when he doesn't have 6th sense, let's say I shoot at him, now he knows he's spotted and he's going to run away back into cover. Whereas, if we now play that same situation again, and Ian's in the exact same place, Ian, be better. Okay, and now I pop out here. And oh, an ELC. So now what I'll do, because I know that clearly he doesn't have 6th sense, is I'm going to wait until I see my team shoot him. Ian, you meant, Lizzie, you're meant to hit him. I'm going to wait until I see my team shoot him, and then I'm going to fire instantly. Gives him far less time to react, and instantly takes him out of the match. And incurs a lot more damage, and you can use that quite well, especially if you know that you have fire support that is just waiting, aiming their guns. If you shoot a tank too early, you can cost your team the damage, whereas if you wait until you see your team hit them and then fire instantly, you're going to get your damage in and theirs, and that's very helpful. Oh my word, I'm flying again. I'm flying.
Help.
I'm flying. Not good! Oh, my IS-4's ice skating and I'm the cap circle! Oh my god! IS-4 corner pocket! So now we're going to cover a nifty little trick which involves the anticipation of heat shells. For example, if these guys were to fire their standard ammo at me, I'm pretty confident in my ability to angle and bounce it. You know, using skill and thought processes and being good at the game, I can pretty much defend myself by angling my armor. That's not going to be an issue. However, if they were to hit the 2 key, the dreaded 2 key, then suddenly none of my armor works and I'm getting penned all over the place. However, I have a torch to this, which is called spaced armor. Now I'm going to over-angle my side, and what this will do is it means that I'm far more likely to bounce their heat shells. Some will still go through, but heat shells do not do well against spaced armor. If they were firing APCR here, if Lizzie was firing APCR, she would be able to go through my side at about this angle most of the time. But as they're firing heat, the shells are eaten up into the spaced armor. And so although I'm over-angling, I'm actually becoming far more effective against their heat shells because of the fact that I got an auto-bounce angle on my front plate, on my lower plate and my upper plate, and my side armor is spaced. So I can actively angle against these heat premium shells with 330mm of pen by over-angling my tank, which is incredibly valuable and an incredibly unicum thing to do, and you look like an absolute boss when you're doing it, and you'll probably get called a hacker as well. And look at these heat shells just bouncing off of the side. And it's worth noting that this works in medium tanks. Any tank has spaced armor on the side, on the tracks, and any of those will eat heat shells. They'll eat any kind of high explosive ammo. And that's just incredibly valuable and unique. So now we're going to cover a technique on the cap circle. Basically, if you've got an intent to capture the enemy base, well, you probably should wait until your team are with you to do it. For example, if I go into the enemy cap circle now, and then let's say 10 seconds later, my friendly tank that was near the base, Eddie, comes into the base as well, well then, at this point, the enemy have already had however long to react to the situation, to turn around, to come back to base, and to start defending. Whereas, if I wait on the outside of the cap circle, right here, until I see that my friend Eddie is about to drive in with me, and then we drive in at the same time, then the enemy has significantly less time to react to the new threat of their base capture. And it does win games if you just take the time outside the cap, waiting, and then spring it upon them, because that surprise and that reaction time is a key factor in the base defense, and it really does bring you wins more often than not. Alright, so an important thing to understand about gameplay is, well, for me, how I call focus fire. And focus fire for me involves three main factors: the tier of the opponents, the DPM of the opponents, and the health of the opponents. Now, as an example here, we've got Ian and Lizzie sitting here, both more or less on the same health, both exactly the same tier. So the deciding factor for who we want to focus fire first is based on the only factor that is different between the two of them, which is DPM. We know that Lizzie, as the tier 10 Russian medium tank, has far more DPM than the IS-7, which means that we should focus her out first. Now, if Lizzie was on full health and the IS-7 was a one-shot or a two-shot, I might focus the IS-7 first. But the key is, what I'm thinking about is how much influence the other tank will have in the engagement while you're taking out the one that you're focusing. For example, if we were to come over here and we focus down Ian in his IS-7, Lizzie would put out far more damage in the time that it takes us to take out the IS-7 than Ian would in the time that it takes us to take out the 140. And so it's a simple mathematical equation that dictates focus fire a lot of the time. So right now, we're going to show how we should currently do this situation. So we're going to lead with highest health first. So Eddie's going to rush over and take both the shots of these guys as he advances. And then we're going to focus Lizzie together, putting both of our damaging shots into her and focus her down because we know she's got far better DPM. And we split the enemy team's fire, and now we can both gang up on the remaining tank, which is Ian in his IS-7. I'm going to face hug.
I quite every time.
And we should get the finish right there. And that's how we do focus fire. Your factors: tiers, DPM, and hit points. Make an equation based on those factors and decide who's going to put out more damage, who's more important, who needs to die first. Take out the most dangerous tank in terms of DPM, or maybe alpha damage. If you don't want to take it, you got to factor in all these things, and that's how you're going to get good focus fire. Okay, gentlemen, let me set the scene for you here. We have won this flank. This 9-0 line, we have success. Me, Ian, and the 5 or 6 tanks that have come to this flank behind us. We're absolutely going to win, which means that less versatile and fast tanks like this IS-7 are going to have no hope of surviving this next engagement. The people that will are people like this Object 140 right here, which have decided that since they're losing this flank, they want to relocate to the other side. What do I know? I know that this IS-7 is dead anyway. Without my help, he's going to die. And so as Lizzie, in that Object 140, begins to relocate and tries to get out and survive, I'm going to prioritize shooting her above prioritizing the IS-7 because we know that because we're winning this flank, the IS-7's gonna die anyway. So I'm gonna focus fire on this 140 because I know that my team is coming up behind me to deal with this guy, and there's no way he'd survive this engagement. And so that is something that you'll quite often find and is really, really helpful for later stages of the game. If you think about the fact that, okay, this person is going to get out, this person is going to have a bigger impact in the game, and so I might as well shoot them now, because whether or not I shoot this tank here, it's going to die. There's really no point in me getting the kill or me getting the damage when I could be prioritizing it into tanks that will have bigger impact in the match as it progresses. Alright, gentlemen, I believe that is all I'm going to cover, so I will give a big warm thank you to all my assistants here, Ian, Eddie, and Lizzie, for helping me out and demonstrating some of the more advanced techniques that I have picked up in World of Tanks to you. Hopefully you found them helpful. Just a reminder, we have a giveaway live stream on the 20th, where we'll be giving away multiple tier 8 premium tanks and gold and premium days, so do be sure to follow me on Twitch to catch that. I'll leave the link in the description. And yeah, until next video, gentlemen, or until I catch you on Twitch, farewell.
I shoot you, I know who put that one in! Steve, you son of a bitch!
Even if they do say bitches!
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh me!